24 assembly constituencies spread across 7 districts of the Union Territory, 8 in 3 districts of Jammu region and 16 in 4 districts of the Kashmir Valley are going to the polls. A total voting percentage of 26.72% was recorded by 11 a.m. today. Over 23 lakh voters are eligible to exercise their franchise in this phase, while 219 candidates, including 19 independents, are in the electoral fray. Polling is being held in 24 assembly segments. Elaborate security arrangements have been made to ensure peaceful and smooth conduct of the polls. Multi-tier forces from the Central Armed Paramilitary Forces, also known as CAPF, Jammu and Kashmir Armed Police and Jammu and Kashmir Police have been tasked with ensuring the law and order situation. Prime Minister Modi urged everybody to vote in large numbers. Taking to platform X, he wrote, and I am quoting the Prime Minister here, as the first phase of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly election begins, I urge all those in constituencies going to polls today to vote in large numbers and strengthen the festival of democracy. I particularly call upon young and first-time voters to exercise their franchise, said the Prime Minister. Let's understand who are in the fray. First up, PDP Chief Mehbooba Mufti's daughter, Iltija Mufti, who's contesting from Sri Gufara Bijbihara, and PDP leader Waheed Para, an accused in the terror case, are among the key candidates. Para has been fielded from Pulwama Assembly segment. Now, amongst other prominent candidates are AICC General Secretary Ghulam Ahmed Mir, who CPIM's Muhammad Yusuf Tarigami, National Conference's Sakina Ittu and PDP Sartaj Madani, while Tarigami is hoping for a 5th consecutive term from Kulgam segment. Mir is seeking a 3rd term from Duru. PDP's Abdul Rahman Biri, Shansuk Anantnag and Sartaj Madani Devsar are also key candidates to really look out for in these elections. Let's now go to the experts and discuss certain key issues in these very, very crucial elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Ajit Kejha, senior journalist, is joining us, and also Ahmed Ali Fayaz, senior journalist, is also joining us. First, certain questions which are basic to actually lay the ground, as it were. Ajit Kejha, your first opinion on the voting percentage, because we know that these elections are crucial. These elections, the people have come to these elections after, a lot of tectonic shifts, as it were. 27.12% until 11 o'clock. Do you think that this will increase? What do you hope for? Because voting percentages are usually very crucial for the way the results will go. Ajit Jha.
Yes, Sudha, I'm actually hopeful that the voting percentages is going to increase in a major way. In fact, I think this is the first election where the entire election looks like any other election in any other part of the country. Open campaigning, there isn't a fear of terrorism, although in the last 2-3 months we saw in Jammu, intrusions by terrorists. But the way this election is going on, it's just a brilliant election. I think it's going to repeat the sort of high turnout that we saw during the Lok Sabha election. Number two, I find that the main issue is no more, if you compare, for example, 2014 assembly election, where the PDP had done extremely well. At that time, the central issue in that election used to be Azadi, not today. Today, you see the central issue is restoration of statehood. Of course, PDP and National Conference and some of the separatist groups still talk about restoration of Article 370, but Congress is silent on that. Its manifesto doesn't mention, although it was critical of BJP when it imposed, the big change in Article 370 in 2019. And third, what I find, it's a fiercely competitive election. Remember, first election in the history of Kashmir, I think, in a way, where the Congress, or at least in recent history, Congress and NC in an alliance, although there are some friendly fights in 3 or 4 constituencies, but largely in alliance. Others are, of course, contesting independently. And the other thing is that the big fight in Jammu seems to be between Congress and BJP. BJP, in fact, dominating that, whereas in Kashmir, the big fight seems to be between NC Congress on one side and PDP on the others. And the important point is that number of independents contesting almost I think as high as 90, which is extraordinary, and that is going to change the entire outcome of the elections in major ways. If you see, the independents did very well, for example, in the 2014 Lok Sabha, right? Engineer Rashid is a great example. In fact, one reason you find Omar Abdullah contesting from 2 seats at the same time is the nervousness and the competitiveness of the entire election. So the main point is that this is a completely what I would call a changed election. Constituencies are delimitation has taken place, so very difficult to predict. But at the same time, intensely competitive, open elections, fair elections. The EC has done a great job of cleaning all the various voter lists and all kinds of arrangements they have done for women voters, for elderly voters. In fact, you can even vote from your home. All that shows that Kashmir is back to normalcy in many ways on the eve of this election.
Sounds good, Ajit, the way you have opened it, and we all hope that, it goes that way. But the people there who are standing in queues have gone through much more than any of us in the entire country. So if normalcy has to be restored, we'll have to also look at other reasons. Ahmed Ali Fayaz, I'll come to you in a moment, please. Thank you for your patience, sir. But before that, my colleague Ankit Bhatt has this report, and we'll be back on the debate.
जम्मू कश्मीर में 10 साल के बाद विधानसभा के चुनाव हो रहे हैं। धारा 370 हटने के बाद पहली बार विधानसभा के चुनाव जम्मू कश्मीर में हो रहे हैं। पहले फेज की आज वोटिंग हो रही है और आप देखिए कि जो मतदाता है, जो यहाँ पर वोटर है, वो यहाँ पर वोट डालकर बाहर निकले हैं। तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं ये लोकतंत्र का महापर्व है और हम भी अपील करते हैं हर लोगों से यही कि आप अपने घरों से बाहर निकलिए और अपना वोट कास्ट करें। जम्मू संभाग की अगर बात की जाए तो 8 विधानसभा सीटों पर मतदान हो रहा है। 3000 से ज़्यादा पोलिंग स्टेशन बनाए गए हैं। वहीं आपको बता दें कि 219 कैंडिडेट्स हैं, जिसमें से 9 जो है वो महिलाएं हैं। यहाँ पर आप लोग देख सकते हैं ये वोट डाल के आए हैं। इन्हीं से हम बात करेंगे। युवाओं के लिए इस चुनाव में क्या कुछ मुद्दा था?
हमारे लिए तो मेन यही मुद्दा है कि अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, और यहाँ पे हमारी जो रिसेंट एग्ज़ाम्स कंडक्ट हुए उसमें पेपर लीक, और पेपर लीक जो है वो सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट इशू है। और उसके बाद जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने एक ब्लेटेंट रिजर्वेशन 10% बढ़ा दी, 70% तक ले गए, और जनरल कैटेगरी को 30% पे रिड्यूस कर दिया है। वही हमारा मेन इशू है
कि आपके लिए, युवाओं के लिए रोजगार मुद्दा इशू ना हो।
हाँ, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट सबसे बड़ा इशू है। ऑलमोस्ट 32% अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट हमारी स्टेट में है। मेन इशू यही है।
आपके लिए क्या मुद्दा रहा इस चुनाव में?
मैं तो सबसे पहले सुप्रीम कोर्ट का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं, जिन्होंने 10 साल के बाद ये एक डिसीजन दिया कि जम्मू कश्मीर में चुनाव हो जाएं और स्टेटहुड भी इनको वापस मिल जाए। सबसे बड़ी बात तो यह है कि महंगाई इतनी चरम सीमा पे पहुंच गई है कि एक लेबर वाला दिन लगा के अपनी फैमिली का खर्चा पूरा नहीं कर सकता है। इतनी बड़ी महंगाई है।
महंगाई मुद्दा है और बेरोजगारी मुद्दा है। और तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं कि किस तरीके से यहाँ पर सुरक्षा व्यवस्था जो है वो यहाँ पर चाक चौबंद है। आपको बता दें कि 3000 से ज़्यादा पोलिंग स्टेशन है। जम्मू संभाग की अगर बात की जाए तो 8 विधानसभा सीटों पर मतदान हो रहा है। कश्मीर में 16 विधानसभा सीटों पर मतदान हो रहा है। और ऐसे में जो यहाँ पर वोटर हैं वो यहाँ पर लगातार पहुँच रहे हैं ताकि वो अपना वोट कास्ट कर सके। पहले फेज़ की अगर बात की जाए तो 23 लाख से ज़्यादा जो वोटर है वो रजिस्टर है, और ख़ास तौर पे जो फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर है वो 1 लाख से ज़्यादा है। पोलिंग स्टेशन के बाहर लंबी लंबी कतारें अब लगना शुरू हो चुकी हैं। और ऐसे में हम भी लोगों से अपील करते हैं कि अपने घर से बाहर निकलिए, अपना वोट कास्ट करें, क्योंकि आज लोकतंत्र का महापर्व जो है वो जम्मू कश्मीर में मनाया जा रहा है तकरीबन 10 साल के।
Ahmed Ali Fayaz, sir, if I can have you on the screen. Mr. Fayaz, statehood, abrogation of Article 370. Are these the only issues on which these elections are being fought? Because one young chap right now told Ankit Bhatt, unemployment. हमारे पास नौकरियां नहीं हैं. You know, when there is such a long hiatus, as it were, where they had to fight different issues in the state, why is there not much talk about how are they going to generate employment for the people of Jammu and Kashmir? I mean, is that not a very, very important issue? I would be very bothered if I were that young, Mr. Fayaz.
Traditional political parties, including the National Conference, People's Democratic Party, and the Congress, also the Bharatiya Janata Party, they have given their promises about ending the problem of unemployment. That's a fact. That's evident in their election manifestos. But they have not been speaking much about these issues. The most important thing which is common in their manifestos and in their election campaigns is a restoration. I mean the PDP and the National Conference, the restoration of the statehood and restoration of Article 370. Congress is speaking about restoration of the restoration of statehood. They are silent about restoration of Article 370. BJP is committed about restoration of statehood. Prime Minister as well as the Home Minister, they have been repeatedly saying that we'll be restoring statehood after the elections and after the peace returns. But other political parties which are in Kashmir contesting the elections today, different political parties, some of them are registered but non-recognized political parties. We call them independents. Some of them are separatists of high profile in the past who are now contesting their elections. None of them is saying anything about these issues, development, employment, anything. They all are unanimously saying about only one thing, that their buzzword is zulm, the oppression. So they are projecting India as an oppressor, and all their criticism is directed against Delhi. They are saying that you people have to vote us because we will get our political prisoners, quote unquote, released from jails. Jamaat Islami people are contesting elections. They say that we are contesting because it will help us remove the ban from our organization. As of now, they are not speaking anything in favor of, in praise of the Indian democracy, for development, for employment and other things. But you see, I have said in the program earlier today that there are two constituencies in Kashmir. There is definitely a constituency which shout slogans for separatism, for Azadi and for Pakistan the moment they get an occasion. Many of those people are today participating in elections. The moment they will get an occasion, they will be again there. Don't be under this impression that this is a festival of democracy and 70-80% people have voted and this is the most successful election. The most important thing in these elections is the narrative. On what narrative these elections are being contested. So you can have political differences with regional parties of Jammu and Kashmir, also with the Congress. But one thing is there, they are not promoting separatism in these elections. So because of that, they are facing deficits. If you analyze Engineer Rashid's victory in the Lok Sabha elections recently, it was a wave. It was a pseudo-separatist wave. It was a sentimentalism. The people who have been speaking about Kashmir's separation from India, most of them, I can say everybody of them voted for Engineer Rashid, and it was because of that Omar Abdullah lost to him by 2 lakh votes. Sajjad lost by 3 lakh votes, and PDP guy lost by 4 lakh votes to Engineer Rashid. If this wave separates to the rest of Kashmir, it will not be a very successful election for India. It will be historic, definitely, in terms of turnout.
All right. And on that note, thank you very much, Mr. Fayaz, for actually a reality check, considering you're an expert, and also Ajit K. Jha for showing hope that things will certainly look up. Two sides, and that's what we are, right? I mean, we agree to disagree, as always. And now, let me take you across to my colleague from Pulwama, Mehraj Ahmed, who has this report. Take a look.
जम्मू कश्मीर में एक लंबे अंतराल के बाद विधानसभा चुनाव हो रहे हैं। करीब 10 सालों के बाद जिन लोगों को विधानसभा चुनाव का इंतज़ार था वो बिल्कुल आज इसका जो है वो इंतज़ार ख़त्म हो गया है। और यहाँ पे लोग जो है विशेषकर अगर हम कहीं दक्षिणी कश्मीर में जहाँ पे अभी 4 ज़िलों में मतदान हो रहा है और ये पहले चरण के तहत जो है 7 ज़िलों में चुनाव हो रहे हैं जम्मू कश्मीर के। वहीं पे अगर दक्षिणी कश्मीर के 4 ज़िलों की बात करें तो कुल मिलाकर इस पहले चरण में 24 लाख वोटर हैं और 24 कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज हैं जिसमें वोट पड़ने जा रहे हैं। बता दें आपको कि 10 साल के अंतराल के बाद जोश भी है और ज़रूरत भी थी इस चुनाव की, तो लोगों से जानना चाहेंगे कि वो कैसा महसूस कर रहे हैं और कितना उत्साह है।
यहाँ तो बहुत मुद्दे हैं, यहाँ तो बेरोजगारी का मुद्दा है, यहाँ से ये पावर का मुद्दा है, यहाँ तो बहुत मुद्दा है।
आपको लगता है कि जो सरकार आएगी ये मुद्दे?
नहीं लगता है, अगर अच्छा लीडर आएगा इंशाल्लाह करेगा हमारा काम।
तो जहाँ तक कि उस इलेक्शन प्रोसेस का ताल्लुक है तो 10 साल के बाद तो मेरे ख्याल से आप देखते हैं लोग जोक दर जोक उसमें हिस्सा ले रहे हैं उस पुल का प्रयास में। उससे पहले लोगों को लाना पड़ता है ये करो वो करो, लेकिन आजकल खुद देखते हैं आप कैसा है या माहौल क्या है ना, बहुत ही गहमा गहमी है, चहल पहल है। तो विश्वास है लोगों में कि हमारे नुमाइंदे जो हैं जो हम चुनने जा रहे हैं तो हमारी बात को करेंगे, वो हमारी मसाइल को हल करेंगे।
तो कुल मिलाकर मतदाताओं का यही कहना है कि 10 सालों तक वो इस समय का इंतज़ार कर रहे थे कि वो अपनी सरकार चुने, क्योंकि काफ़ी समस्याएं उनकी है और जो उनके अनुसार सुनी नहीं जा रही थी उनकी समस्याएं अब उनके उम्मीदवारों द्वारा जो है वो सुनी जाएगी और आगे बढ़ाकर उनका हल किया जाएगा।